and welcome back to SP Learning Labs. So far you have learned how to optimize problems using dynamic programming, where instead of solving everything again and again, we stored results and reuse them to make things efficient. But today we are going in a completely different direction. Today, instead of avoiding possibilities, we are going to explore all possibilities, and not randomly, but in a very controlled and intelligent way. Previous video recap. In the last video, you learned dynamic programming, and if you think about it carefully, dynamic programming was all about avoiding repeated work. You were storing answers and reusing them so that you don't waste time. But now, here comes the problem. What if you actually need to try all the possibilities? What if there is no shortcut? So, what if the only way to solve this problem is try something, check if it works, if it fails, undo it, and try something else? That is exactly where backtracking comes in. Let's imagine a chess engine. It looks at a move. Then it looks ahead. Then it realizes this move leads to a bad position. So what does it do? It doesn't continue blindly. It goes back, undoes the move, tries a different move. This process of trying, undoing and trying again is backtracking. Why do we need this? Now let's slow down and think. There are many problems where you need all combinations. You need all arrangements. You need to satisfy constraints. And the problem with this is there is no direct formula. There is no greedy shortcut. There is no dynamic programming reuse in many cases. So the question becomes, how do we systematically explore all possibilities without getting lost? Backtracking gives you that structure. The core idea: choose, explore, unchoose. Let's build this very slowly. Backtracking always follows 3 steps. First, you choose something. Then you explore further. Then you unchoose your own decision. Now the problem students face here is they understand choose, they understand explore, but they forget unchoose. That is exactly where bugs happen. Think like this. Imagine you're building a path. You add a number, then you go deeper. Then you come back. Now, when you come back, you must remove that number. Otherwise, your next path becomes incorrect. Now, let's see how all possibilities are actually explored. Decision tree. How backtracking thinks. Instead of thinking linearly, think like a tree. At every step, you have choices. Each choice creates a branch. Now, the problem with this is the number of branches grows very fast. So, if you are not careful, you will explore unnecessary paths. Important insight. Backtracking is basically DFS on a decision tree. Now comes the most important optimization. Pruning. Stopping early. Let's understand the real problem. If you try every possible path completely, time becomes huge. So what do? We stop early when we already know the path is wrong. Example, if you are solving Sudoku and a number violates rules, there is no point exploring further, so you stop immediately. Don't waste time on invalid paths. Now let's see this with a real example. Here we'll choose a number, then we'll go deeper. Then we remove it. Now the problem, if we don't remove, it will be the next branch incorrect. So what we do here is we have used an array to track chosen numbers. Pick an unused number, then add it to the current path. Recursively build the permutation, backtrack by removing the number, and continue until all positions are filled. For this, the time complexity is O n into n factorial, where n factorial permutations exist and each permutation takes an on to build or copy the permutations are generated by making a choice, exploring deeper, and then undoing that choice. This choose, explore, and unchoose pattern is the essence of backtracking. We are exploring the deeper roots. Now we have unchosen it. Now let's print it and see the output. Let's save it. There we go. We have all the permutations that are for this array 1, 2 and 3. Now let's move on to subsets. Here every element creates 2 branches. So total subsets will be 2 power n. And this starts from the index 0. For each element, include it and recurse, and exclude it and recurse. When all elements are processed, store the current subset. Continue until all possibilities are explored. Here, the key idea will be, if every element creates 2 choices, they are include or exclude. Why total subsets equals to 2 power n? Because for each element, 2 choices. For n elements, there will be 2 into n times. Therefore, total subsets will be 2 power n. For example, if elements are 1, then subsets will be 2. And if elements are 2, then subsets will be 4. Elements are 3, then subsets will be 8. And 4 to 16. For this, the time complexity generates subsets as On into 2 power n, where 2 power n subsets are generated and each subset may take up to O of n to copy. Subsets use the simplest backtracking idea. For every element, decide whether to take it or leave it. These 2 choices create all possible subsets. Now let's print the subsets. Let's save it and run it and see how many subsets we'll have. There we go. We have these many subsets for array 1, 2, 3. core part ends here. Best practices. Always undo your choice. Always add pruning. Always think like a tree. Common mistakes. Forgetting to unchoose. Not pruning. Repeating the same states. Interview questions. What is backtracking? Difference between DFS and backtracking. Why pruning matters? Now think. For 1, 2, how many subsets? Build this tree mentally. Answer this in the comment section and I'll help you improve it. So let's recap. Backtracking explores all possibilities. Uses choose, explore, unchoose. Pruning saves time. Next, we go to union find, a structure to manage connected components. If this clicked, like, share and subscribe to SP Learning Labs. I'll see you in the next one.